Okay, folks, here we go with the 2016 South Island Super Saloon Championships here at Nelson Speedway. Defending champion is Richie Taylor. Now, Richie, it only seems like a couple of months ago we were talking to you here for the Elf Cup, and it seemed to be that was sort of okay-ish, but not where you wanted to be. But this is the one you definitely want to go back-to-back on, isn't it?
Yeah, we'd love to go back-to-back on this. So, yeah, definitely we've got to. We took a lot of notes from when we were here last time, so we better improve on that.
Now, of course, the track day conditions will probably be quite a bit different. We've got a really hot sun here today, a wee bit of a breeze there as well. So as quick as they'll be putting water into that track, obviously it's going to go pretty dry, pretty slick. You have a good slick setup for here?
We're hoping so. This place is a little different to most others, just with the shape of it. But yeah, if it does go like that, we'll probably be quite happy because that's the way historically it normally is. So we can run on a more conventional setup for here.
Now, you've got 13 other cars to face it out with. Who do you see as your biggest competitor? I suppose everybody these days, isn't it?
Yeah, you just hit it on the head, actually. Everybody, there's the quality of the field from one end to the other is really good, and if somebody gets a breakaway at the front, it's hard for anybody to run them down. So I mean, there's obviously the usual contenders who are going to put their hand up, but anybody can take this deal tonight, anybody.
Absolutely. Now, got good sponsors on the car. Tell us a bit about the car. What sort of chassis do you run in the motor and stuff?
We run a gorge chassis. We've run the last three cars have been from Murray. So we've got a gorge car with a Dennis Wise sort of cylinder head specialist Chevy in it, and about 430 inches, methanol injected, of course, like a lot of them are. And yeah, it's just a real good package. The car seems to work together. We're on a bit of a different setup deal to what most other guys are. We're on 4 coils and 4 bar, whereas a lot of the others are on torsion. So a bit different, but we enjoy it.
Absolutely, and of course you've been around 100 years too, so you'll be well tuned to a lot of what these tracks do. Alrighty, good sponsor look after you. Who looks after you on the car?
Yeah, we've had cylinder head specialists for years. They've been great, and Fairview Fiberglass made us some new stuff after we wrecked it all at Invercargill, and so they were really good and got all stuff together for us. All about signs, they done some new signs for us, and Brenda Taylor, House of Travel, she chips in, and yeah, we've got a great group of people behind us. We've got MTF Finance and the Timaroo outfit of those guys have come on board and helping us, so yeah, we've got a really good group of people.
Alrighty folks, they've got now a chance to catch up with the 891 car from Christchurch here for the 2016 South Island Super Saloon Championships. Josh Bolton. Josh, one of the reasons why we wanted to talk to you is because you've been going exceptionally well over the last season especially. Any particular reason why that is?
I guess everything gels and you get a bit of luck and the crew are gelling together and then the car's going well, so yeah.
Tell me, I mean, you've campaigned a Lovelady for quite some time. You're now into Hypermac. Is there a big difference between the two cars, and is that potentially a reason why it's going so well?
There's not a huge difference. I mean, the chassis are different to look at, obviously. Setup-wise, the Hypermac might be a little bit easier to chase around, but to drive, very similar.
Okay, so and your style of driving, it suits both the cars, obviously?
Yeah, well, I like it when it sort of slicks up a little bit, but then I like it when it's a bit rough and we get to bounce around, so I don't mind either, really. Absolutely,
and of course we've had a couple of those in the season as well. Now, of course, Nelson, different sort of a ball game here tonight. Very hot, a bit of a wind out there as well. That track will slick off. Have you got the good slick track set up for Nelson?
Well, we chucked some new tyres on because Invercargill 8 tyres. Of course, we are going to be racing in the sun tonight because we're starting at 6, so it's going to be hot, and as long as I don't overheat, I think the car will be fine.
Well, let's hope you don't overheat. Hey, alrighty then. So, good sponsors on the car as well. Who looks after you on there, Josh?
Gypsy Royal Starter Course out of Canterbury and Megan Turbo.
Alrighty, folks, here we are, South Island Super Saloon Championships for the 2016 season here at Nelson. 2NZ, Mark Grocott, you're here to obviously have a crack at trying to secure something you've never had before. So, what's the plan?
Well, the car's actually performing quite well, so yeah, we're looking at the track. It's looking okay, and I think we'll just play it easy at the start and just see what happens.
Now, the last time we were here was the Elf Cup, and you actually won that round at the Elf Cup, so I'd imagine you got some pretty good setups, but obviously we're a bit different today with a bit of heat and a bit of wind floating around.
Yeah, it is totally different. You know, the sun dries out the track quite a lot, and they don't get enough moisture into it, so it can go slick or it could be a drivey track. We just don't know until we get out there.
Okay, so obviously you're building up towards the New Zealand title, perhaps trying to go one better. So, bit of confidence in the team?
Yeah. You know, the team's pretty good, and I'm happy with what they do with the car. And and I just got to drive. That's what they tell me to do. So that's what I do best. And we're just got to perform and just keep happy and make sure everybody's having a great time and no one upset in the camp. That's the main thing.
But the thing is, I suppose it's all about having fun and being relaxed to go into events like this as well. And I suppose the South Island title this late in the season would be good, sort of like a lead into the New Zealand title.
Yes, it is, and doing those series like the Elf Cup and like the North Islands have the Burger King, that helps heaps, especially because you're racing with the top guys of each side of the country, and just racing with them, it just makes a big difference going to these sort of titles. Yeah.
Now, of course, you've had a couple of problems with the Hypermac over the last season, finding bits and pieces here and there. I suppose you've got crew have gone over it fully over the last week to get it ready to go. Yeah,
no, we have. We actually found quite a few issues with the car. Well, we don't know if it's our fault or manufacturing fault, but it's not really manufacturing, it's our fault. Just not maintaining things, and with these sort of cars, you've really got to be on the ball with them, and if you let things go, it just, they go.
Absolutely. Good sponsor on the car, who is it?
Brown & Symes, and we have auto scans, they look after us. Peter and Bruce, who actually own the car, they put a lot of effort into it, and that's why we're here today.
The dream job, eh? Get to drive a car that's that flash, eh?
Yeah, it is. It's a dream job, and it's just like Mark's big sponsor, McDonald's, but I'm probably one better.
Absolutely. Well, best of luck for racing today.
Yeah, cheers, thanks.
Can you feel it?
Rightio, mate, we are here for our Super Saloons. It is the Postboy Hotel South Island Super Saloon Championship, and we thank Tim for coming up here, mate. Awesome event, and great for the Mike Pero Nelson Giants to be up here and supporting the Nelson Speedway, and we do thank them. Of course, Pete McNay, part of the Nelson Mail, part of our riding team, both here in the Nelson Mail. Fantastic coverage of all the Speedway in the Mail, and of course also in the Dirt Track magazine, as we welcome our Super Saloons. And it is great to have the Super Saloons back here. As we said, we have been low on numbers up here in Nelson. We've had a couple of injuries to some of the drivers, a sick engine as well, but it is good to see our Super Saloons back after the Elf Cup, and it's great that these cars have come back. They've had some huge travelling. They've been up the North Island, they've been all the way down to Cargill. I think they were down here for a couple of days. I'm not sure if it was last week or the week before. And then of course here in Nelson, of course they've still got a couple of rounds of the Elf Cup left to do, but at the moment it is the business jet defending champion Richie Taylor out there. But the one to watch is the 3NZ of Ian Burson. A bit of an accident up there in Waikaraka Park, but mate won the 50 lapper with the roof off up in the Western Springs. So certainly shows some good commitment up there. The 27C of Trevor Elliott out there, still the current king of the coast. They haven't raced Super Saloons at the coast for about 5 years, but he is still the current king of the coast. The 2NZ, Mark Grocott, Fluffy they call him, 46 is good to see. Paddy North back here into the Super Saloon, of course, racing the sprint car and the saloon car over the last few weeks. The 492 all the way from the Bluff. It is Campbell McManaway. Great to see Campbell back here. There we go, our defending South Island champion. It is Richie Taylor. Didn't go north, but mate, he has got to be one of these short price favourites for New Zealand Super Saloon champion. Still to be raced up, I think, 11th and 12th of April up in Miami. The 11 car of Jason Phillips. Here we go back to the 77 car of Greg Johnson from Cromwell. Go back to 35, the hometown hero. It is Mark Carey, former 3NZ. We go back to 48 of Gavin Hill, HPE Machinery. And the 891, of course, Gavin Hill got new colours on here. I think he had a bit of damage previous body. Normally races the green, but now under the blue and silver. And the 891, here we are, the BRT. It is Josh Bolton, and last time I saw him, he had a fantastic race with Richie Taylor, really starting to come to grips with him. Out in front of this, the 34 of Ray Stewart, Crazy Ray Stewart. And out in front of him on the outside, of course, it is the 6C of Kane Lawson, Dennis Bolt Machine, and Kane going great guns today. Of course, Gabe not up here. Gabe's done a fantastic job. They keep hearing huge reports from Gabe from taking over the role up here in the commentary box. He's down there crewing for Ray Stewart today, but mate, he has done a fantastic job, and we'll have him back up here in the tower, and I know he's done a fantastic job, and hopefully we'll be able to secure him in for the rest of his life, and going great guns. So Gabe's down there doing the pit duty tonight. He's put me back up in the tower, and I think I've got a big ask to try and keep up with what Gabe's been doing in the last couple of meetings here at Frostys Towing, top of the South Speedway, as we look forward to the Postboy Hotel, the South Island Super Saloon Championship, the best in the business. doing it here in the Nelson Speedway race, Stuart. A lot of Hypermax out there. A lot of Hypermax out there. We got a Gores chassis. That's the one that might cause a few concerns. Richie Taylor, the 58C car. He'll be one to watch. That's the 3NZ of Ian Burson, hometown hero. 811 Roger Nees here as well as we go 34. Takes off the race lead, 15 laps this first one around. Kane just gets slightly into him as they do rub panels going round, down around Bixie's Hill. And it's a race steward that's got the outside line from Kane Lawson. Here we go back to the 3NZ. Fluffy, Mark Grocott running wide, 27 of Trevor Elliott. We go back to 492I of Campbell McManaway. Here comes Richie Taylor, the 58C car. Just tags a bit of Campbell McManaway. In fact, they've got tangled and Paddy North's gone sideways, so Paddy's going to stop. And we've got problems, folks. We've got the current South Island champion and 492 of Campbell McManaway. Both cars are locked up by their bumpers, so the 46 car of Paddy North trying to avoid it. He stopped, and now this is very clever from Paddy. He stayed where he was, brought out the caution, so he'll be able to go back into his race position as they try to work out what they're going to do with these two cars of Richie Taylor and Campbell McManaway. Richie Taylor just tapping the back of Campbell's car as they come around Bixie's Hill, and the two bars have been hooked up. Bit of smoke coming out of the Richie Taylor machine. So none of the guards can actually try and touch these cars because that's deemed outside assistance, but they're trying to try and work out how they get these cars apart. Otherwise, we probably will be hard work for these guys to try and get back up for their final race. Of course, it is a 25-lap feature, first past the post, as they try and untangle these two cars. But it will be Ray Stewart that will lead them around this time round. Still got 14 laps to go. Kane Lawson sitting in second spot from the 3NZ of Ian Burson, the 811 of Roger Nees, the 2NZ of Mark Grocott, and the 27 of Trevor Elliott. Back racing again, and it is Ray Stewart that leads him around. Ian Burson trying to get underneath the 6 car of Kane Lawson as the 27 of Trevor Elliott holds on the first place. He's got Campbell McManaway underneath him. Here comes Richie Taylor again. Paddy North back into his spot between those two cars. Slightly dented a right front door where he tried to avoid the clash. Mark Grocott trying to get underneath the 811 of Roger Nees, and also doing great guns here. It looks like Ian Burson pushing Kane Lawson out, trying to get in that second spot, and is going to force his way underneath. No, Kane holds on to it in second spot, but Richie Taylor also coming through there. He's still in behind Paddy North as we look down there. Mark Carey, 35 car, just taking a low line behind Jason Phillips. Now back to the 77 car of Greg Johnson, the 891 of Josh Bolton trying to get around the outside, and Gavin, 48 car of Gavin Hill at the back of the pack is Richie Taylor. Comes back through, still trying to battle with Paddy North. Campbell McManaway holding on, so not too many passing manoeuvres at the moment as Kane Lawson just goes slightly wide. Might open the door for Ian Burson, who's done plenty of laps on this circuit. 34 Ray Stewart running the high line, as is 2NZ Mark Grocott right up high on turn 1 and 2, comes back down low again, but it does start to fly around as these guys head down to lap number 6, so very quick times as Ray Stewart goes wide, opens the door for Kane Lawson and Ian Burson. So there's 3 cars vying for that top 3 spot. Go back to about half a dozen car lengths back to Roger Nees. In behind him is Mark Grocott trying to get hold of him. Then we go back 3 or 4 car lengths to Trevor Elliott. 492 Campbell McManaway to 46 of Paddy North. And then we go back to Richie Taylor. So not many positions being changed. Jason Phillips, Mark Carey, the 891, Josh Bolton, 77 and 48 as the back markers will come into view of some of these front leaders. Ray Stewart still holding on. In person, he's got past Kane Lawson. Here we go. In Burson, the baby-faced assassin as they call him, heading through, trying to battle down Ray Stewart. Ray goes wide, so it looks like In Burson just off the throttle, on the throttle, puts the horsepower back down. Ray just getting that horsepower on a little bit sooner as In Burson puts the pressure for Ray to run wide, and Ray does run wide, so In Burson has shown a bit of a door. Might take him a couple laps to do this. He might have just about done it now. He's down 1 and 2, and he'll come out of 2 almost bumper to bumper as they go side by side down to Bixie's Hill. In Ray Stewart cuts low, In Burson even lower on the pole line, and we'll stick with this race, folks, as We see Mark Grocott has got past Roger Neese. Roger Neese going wide. Trevor Elliott looking through the air, but here we go. Ray Stewart holding on to a good race line as we go. Caution. Lap number 12. And are they only running 12 laps? Well, I've got 15 on my calendar. But they are going 12. There we go. That's why I wasn't looking at my ELS system. So Ray Stewart takes a race win from Ian Burson. Kane Lawson holding on to third from Mark Grocott, Roger Neese, Trevor Elliott, Campbell McManaway, Paddy North, Richie Taylor, Jason Phillips, Mark Kerry, Josh Bolton, Greg Johnson, and of course Gavin Hill is your top 14. And we'll get the official points very shortly as we go through a few race results. But a good run there for young Gabe, who's crewing now for the 34T. Crazy Ray Stewart. And Ray Stewart picks up a beautiful race win here in the first heat of the Postboy Hotel South Island Super Saloon Championship. And the rest of the car just packing down that outside line as the track does blacken off just a slightly bit, so we'll get a bit of water out on the track.
Okay, folks, here we go. Race number 1 winner of the South Island Super Saloons. It is the 34T car, Ray Stewart. Ray, it looks like, though, you did it pretty hard, mate. She was not hooking up the way you wanted to, pushing a lot.
No, that's right. There was two very distinctive tracks out there. The inside, bottom half of the track was hard and slick, and the outside was rough and bumpy and lots of drive in it. And I sort of went out there with quite a bit of stagger on to hopefully sit up on the high line. But on the inside start, and I had no drive at all, so I had to sort of drift up and get on that real rough stuff. And in Burson there, he's poking his nose up inside me quite a few times. I said, no, you're not. You ain't getting past, mate. So I may have shut the door a couple of times, but I won. That was the main one.
But you got the result you wanted anyway. Now, obviously looking very hot there. She's obviously hard work out there. Then you got the laptop out, so obviously a couple of changes are coming as well, is it?
Oh, yeah, it's just an ongoing. We haven't quite got the fueling right in the engine yet. It's electronic, and I've got to come to these meetings. Like when I started that race there, it sort of popped and banged a wee bit. That usually means running a little bit lean, so I'm just going to richen it up and we'll go from there.
Okay, good stuff. Well, that's a good win anyway, and that's one under the belt, and that puts you in good stead for the next race. Of course, you're starting off the back in the next race, which is going to be a wee bit harder. Good sponsor on the car too, Ray. Who looks after you, bud?
Yeah, Heavy Tracks Hire, my company. They've obviously going to spend a lot of money on me, and Lube New Zealand, that's the Elf and Vertex lubricants here in New Zealand. Seeker Panels and Parts, Rob here and Nelson, and he looks after me quite well as well. But yeah.
Folks, here we are with the Hypermac in-house Tate's car of Ian Burson in South Island title, home track. You know what it's going to do. You reckon you've got a bit of an advantage today?
I don't know. Like, it's that competitive now, Jace. Yeah, the 14 cars are here. Any one of those guys can win it. I think looking at the track, it'll probably come down to a wee bit of luck. Yeah, it looks definitely a drivey high line and, you know, a wee bit tar-sealish down the bottom, but, you know, if you can get it to work on both bits, you'll have a fast night.
Absolutely. Now, you've done a wee bit of racing over the last couple of months, a couple of trips away to the North Island as well. Gained a bit of experience and had a bit of seat time. Is it, think your race skill might be up there?
Oh, definitely. Yeah, no, you've got to be at your peak of your game to race against those guys up north and even down south here, but it's just, yeah, we're not getting a lot of racing, so it was time to venture abroad. And yeah, everyone up north was saying they're going pretty quick, and we thought, you know, we'll go and see how quick they actually are.
And were they quick?
Yeah, they were quick, you know, consistently. They were up there, but then in saying that, we weren't slow. So, yeah, I'm happy to say that, you know, we're right there with them.
Of course, it is the South Island title, but you must be sort of starting to really focus on Miani for the New Zealand Super Saloon title. Is that sort of playing in the back of your head that you've got to get some things happening?
Yes and no. I don't like to be sort of feel pressured going into it because, you know, things turn to custard fairly quick. So, yeah, we'll just take each meeting as it comes and, yeah, hopefully we'll have a couple of good ones, and if we have a couple of bad ones, well, you forget those and just get on with it and carry on. Game
on, isn't it, really? All right, Ian, well, you got some good sponsors on the side of the car. I know you struggle to remember that you got that many of them, but we'll give you a crack. Who looks after you, Ian?
In-house developments, Tate's New Zealand, they look after our engine, so yeah, that's fantastic. We don't have to worry about that. Phil at Design Art Signs, yeah, he does all the sticker work, and he's been doing plenty of that lately. Poor bugger, yeah, maintaining stuff. And we've got Brooks Auto Painters, Debbie the Webster, Mike Perry Real Estate, AT Electrical, Hydrolink, Tony's Engineering, Edward Gibbon, and yeah, I think that's the lot, Jace. And yeah, I must thank, you know, my father and mother-in-law, they actually own the ride, so I steer it for them and damage it and then win the odd race. So, yeah, it goes in a roundabout way.
Good stuff, mate. Well, best of luck for racing tonight.
Cheers, man.
As we get out our second heat of our Super Saloon title brought to us by the Post Boy Hotel, and this is a reverse grid order, so you see Burston down towards the back along with Ray Stewart, our last heat winner. Out in front it is the 891 of Josh Bolton, Gavin Hill in behind him. Then we go back to Jason Phillips, Mark Carey, 58 of Richie Taylor, the 77 car from Cromwell. And that is, of course, is Greg Johnson. We go back to 46 of Paddy North, the 492 of Campbell McManaway, the 2NZ Mark Grocott, the 27 of Trevor Elliott, the 811 Roger Nee's got their car repaired. Here we go, the 3NZ, the hometown hero, Ben Burston. The 6 car of Kane Lawson, and off the back it is Crazy Ray Stewart. And young Gabe doing a great job at crewing for him tonight, having a rest off the microphone, but I'm sure we'll get him back up here quick smart. And we do thank him for doing a sterling job while I was gallivanting around that North Island, taking in some of those New Zealand championships. About to go racing very shortly, folks. So off the back, the lights are out. Bit of white powder going on in the infield, not quite sure what that's about, but it is Gavin Hill on the inside. Josh Bolton on the outside, about to put the foot down, and it is Josh Bolton that leads him round past the pole line, and behind them it is Jason Phillips from Mark Carey, Richie Taylor. Campbell McManaway, Paddy North heading through there as well. Here comes Ian Burston, sneaks through a couple of drivers. It is Greg Johnson that drops back a couple of spots. Ray Stewart picks up a spot as well. Paddy North just trying to drive round. Mark Carey getting a little bit loose as we go three-way, and it's not going to happen. Richie Taylor rides up on the top of Ian Burston. They've sorted themselves back out again. Sorry, not Ian Burston, it was Campbell McManaway. Campbell McManaway's bonnet all ripped up. His front wheel's actually collapsed, so he's got not very good steering in the 492i car as he rode up the back of Trevor Elliott. The conditions just a little bit slippery, but out in front of this Josh Bolton from Gavin Hill. Then we go back to Jason Phillips, spent a bit of time up in the North Island over Christmas. Richie Taylor, the Gorge Machine. Then we go back to Paddy North. We go back to Trevor Elliott, 27C, 811 Roger Nee's, the 492 car. Now I don't know how long this car's going to hold together for, because it's certainly got some damage, but out the outside of him goes Ian Burston making some headway up. He'll be trying to find that pole position for this next heat. As we see Mark Carey going wide out on 2, touches the wall, comes back again. Mark Grocott found himself in the back of the track as well, the 2NZ car. Out in front, Josh Bolton heading out into the sunset. We know what he's like on turn number 2, so if he keep it off that wall, he'll be going great guns this time round. Then we go back to Gavin Hill, the HPE machine from the 11 car, the Stoneleigh machine of Jason Phillips. Paddy North sneaks underneath Richie Taylor. Here we go back to Ian Burston trying to get around Trevor Elliott. Trevor Elliott makes that car quite wide. Paddy North loses a gap back to Richie Taylor as these cars fire through lap number 7 of 15. Josh Bolden got it pretty easy at the moment, just got to keep it settled. Been behind them, and it is still Gavin Hill from Jason Phillips, Richie Taylor, Paddy North, Trevor Elliott, Ian Burson. Here we go back to the 811 of Roger Nees. 492 Camel Runaway. Don't know how that car's still staying straight. He still is. Kane Lawson in behind him. Here we go back to Mark Kerry. Here we go back to Mark Grocott. Last race winner, Ray Stewart, second to last in the 77 car last. Paddy North spun it up on Bigsy's Hill. So we're going to go caution. Paddy North got it all loose, so a little bit of happening there. Didn't quite see that one looking at some of the back cars. But that'll close the field up. That big gap that Josh Bolden got, that's going to go back to 0. And lap number 9, 6 to go. Still don't know how Campbell McManaway's car keeping up that right front suspension. Not sure if the stewards are looking at that. They must be quite happy with that to carry on. Paddy North spun it up, so I'm not sure if he's going to go back in his race position. Wait and see what the referees do. Looks like he might just be at the back of the pack. So he got front suspension damage. The car's looking very low at the front as well. Yes, it looks like the inside left-hand corner of Paddy North's car sitting quite low. So yeah, he might have a wee bit of damage as well there, looking at it, yep. So I'll just wait and see. It looks like he will be off the pack. Ray Stewart just slots back in his spot. So there we go, 891 Josh Bolton. His 12-13 car lap gap has gone. Gavin Hill back right underneath him. Then we go back to the 11C car, the Stoneleigh car of Jason Phillips. Then we go back to the Gorge machine of our defending South Island champion, Richie Taylor. The 27C car, Trevor Elliott, scaffolding from Christchurch. 3NZ, the in-house machine of Ian Burson. Then we go back to 811, Nees Graphics, Wentworth, Cartage. And we're going racing again. It is a BRT machine, 891, Josh Bolden leads them through. These guys are all bunched up again as they head round 1 and 2. Down the back straight towards Bigsy's Hill, and Josh Bolden getting out to a bit of a lead again from Gavin Hill. Jason Phillips goes wide, might have opened up the door for Richie Taylor. Richie Taylor looking on the inside, and might effectively gets that position. He will do as they go around the corner. Jason Phillips has to hold. He might have left it open again for Trevor Elliott as well. Jason Phillips got to come a bit lower. He does so this time round. The rest of the guys just holding on. The front right-hand corner of Campbell Manaway, looking all sorts of things as Trevor Elliott has got through past Jason Phillips. So Jason Phillips gone back a couple of spots, just not holding his race line. And Ian Burson's going to get a sniff there as well. And Ian Burson's gone through as well. So good points for Ian Burson. He's moved up to this stage, 23 points. So he'll be off the front for the 25-lap final. Richie Taylor on 18, unofficially with Kane Lawson. 17 points for Ray Stewart and Josh Bolton. So very, very close points for these 14 race cars. And they're still going great through. 12 laps gone. Josh Bolton leading out by about 6 or 7 cars. It's gone caution again. And there we go. The 492 car, he has given up after about 8 or 9 laps with a right front suspension. The tyres flat. Oh, we've gone. No, we've gone. It is 12 laps. Sorry, guys, we've gone 15. I thought it was 15 again. Being caught out by a ELS system. So Josh Bolton will take the win from Gavin Hill. Richie Taylor, Trevor Elliott. Must be a nightmare for you guys listening to me. Ian Burson picks up value of points, has been set on 23 unofficially. We go back to Jason Phillips, Roger Nees. Campbell McManaway still finishes. Kane Lawson, Mark Carey, Mark Grocott, Ray Stewart, Greg Johnson, and Paddy North. Rightio, folks, here we go, the BRT machine. Bolton Racing Team. It is Josh Bolton, and he'll be pretty wrapped with that win. That puts him on to, having a look up here, unofficially, he'll go on to 17 points, so he'll be off grid 4, grid 5 at this stage. Unofficially 23 points for Ian Burson, 20 points for Trevor Elliott, Richie Taylor on 18, along with Roger Nees and Kane Lawson, so 3-way tie on 18. Then we go back to 17 for Josh Bolton and Ray Stewart. Then we go back to Mark Grocott on 15 points, 8 points for Paddy North, 9 points for Mark Carey. This is unofficially, of course, Jason Phillips on 14 points. And Greg Johnson on 4 points.
Alrighty, folks, here we go. Heat number 2 for the South Island Super Saloon title, and it is the 891 car of Josh Bolton. Josh, much better. Obviously, got a new camera in the front of your car, and you kept it nice and clean for me too.
I did. I kept it nice and clean, especially for you. No rocks or nothing.
Okay, so track conditions obviously not ideal, but it just seemed to be you had a good setup. You started to get a bit of a good lead on the rest of the field, eh?
Yeah, we mucked up a little in the first one, didn't get it tight enough, and the track went off probably quicker than most people thought, I guess. It's really quite slick. There's a huge bump just under the tail, which is quite fun, just entering turn 1, so you can just hold on for that one.
Now, of course, it's going to be a lot of work for you to do, though, even though you got that when you're still sort of mid-back, a lot of work to do. What's the game plan?
Cross the fingers and see what happens, I guess. I think everyone's going to be singing up high, so we're going to try and set this thing up to sit on the bottom and see what happens.
Okay, well, best of luck. It looks like it's going to be a hard one for you, Josh.
It will be, yeah. Thanks, bud.
Alright, folks, here we go with the South Island Super Saloon title, and of course a chance now to catch up with a guy that's come a long way, the 77T of Greg Johnson. Now, Greg, we haven't seen you racing around much, so obviously you're a man that sort of pops up every once in a while.
Yeah, no, we've sort of had a bit of trouble with motors. We got this car off Dion McMurdo, and unfortunately we only got about 10 laps last season in it, and unfortunately we had a bit of trouble with the motor, so our budget's a wee bit tighter than most other guys. So with that, of course, yeah, we've got to rebuild things, and yeah, so I don't know how much racing we'll be able to do until we either pop something or we'll keep going. So
What sort of motor are you running in it?
it's actually a Mike Fedona built Chevy 414, and seems to be going right at the moment. So yeah, we've replaced quite a bit of stuff like pumps and bits and pieces just to give us a bit more reliability, you know. So
I suggest you touch wood about now, mate, because you know what happens. It's the old curse of the whatever happens around Speedway. It seems to happen to a lot of people. So give us a bit more of a background on the chassis. What sort of chassis is it?
it's a Moore chassis. Used to be owned by Dion McMurdo, and then he actually got a Fedona chassis. So it was the one before that one. So like I say, we haven't turned many laps in it. So we've been putting cameras in the arse end of it, and just seeing what's going on, and every time we drive it we're finding more stuff that isn't right. So tonight's actually the best time it's been going, and I'm actually starting to enjoy it. First time at Nelson as well, so yeah.
Yeah, Nelson track can be a bit tricky in itself, but it's obviously if you're enjoying it on this track, you're just about enjoyed it in any track. But yeah, good old technology, eh? Chuck a camera in the back and just see what it's up to, and obviously it's paying off for you. You got any sponsors to look after you, mate?
Yeah, there's actually nothing on the car. We haven't had a chance yet, but I'd like to thank Chester's. Hopefully the car, like I say, keeps together and they come on board next year. That's the plan. Our own company, Gasco Queen, South Island, and Atlas help us out every now and then as well.
Okay, well, best of luck for the remainder of the racing here tonight, and hey, well done for getting her out there and have a crack anyway, eh?
Yeah, hopefully we can keep it together, mate.
At Hamner Holiday Homes, they pride themselves on offering accommodation solutions to suit almost any budget. Only a short 95 minutes from Christchurch, tucked away beneath the mountains, is Hamner Springs, a nature's wonderland. Whether you're looking for a home the whole family can enjoy, have a barbecue and let the children play free, or a quiet hideaway for two in a peaceful retreat, from the larger house to the small, Hamner Holiday Homes offer it all. HamnerHolidayHomes.com. Book now.
At Mag and Turbo, we're not just a mag wheel shop, we're a supermarket for tyres. Street, track or economy, we have a performance tyre to suit your driving and your budget. 17-inch tyres from $119, 18-inch tyres from $139 and 19-inch tyres from $179. When you buy tyres off us, you get one of these: free tyre rotation, puncture repairs and alignment checks for the life of the tyres. If you need performance tyres, give us a call. 0800 MAGS for you.
Hi, I'm Scott Williamson and welcome to X Factor Cars. Family owned and operated with 2 locations, Invercargill and Cromwell. Specialising in everything V8 from Holden Ford, HSV, FPV, and with Southland's biggest selection of American muscle, we've got most bases covered. You only live once, but if you do it right, once is enough. Get the X Factor.
Rightio, we have our Postboy South Island Super Saloons out on the track. They'll put this moisture in. Rightio folks, the Postboy Hotel sponsoring tonight's meeting for our South Island Super Saloon title, and we do have our leads points starting on the outside. It is Ian Burson, the babyface assassin. Inside of him, Elliott scaffolding, Trevor Elliott. 6C of Kane Lawson. Outside of him, the 811 of Roger Neese. Then we go back to our defending South Island champion. It is Richie Taylor. Outside of him, Ray Stewart. Here we go, 891 Josh Bolden, the 2NZ of Mark Grocott, aka Fluffy. 492 from Bluff, it is Campbell Manaway, the 48 HPE machine car of Gavin Hill. We go back to 35N, Mark Carey Contracting, sponsor of the Elf Cup up here earlier in the season, and the 35N. Inside of him, the 11 car of Jason Phillips. Then we go back to 46E of Paddy North, former 2NZ saloon car driver, and the 77 car right at the back, and that is a Greg Johnson from Cromwell. So we'll get thumbs up, thumbs down from Trevor Elliott. Yep, thumbs are up. So our infield marshals will head inside. We have 20 laps to decide our South Island Super Saloon champion. William Burson claim another title. He's in the box seat at the moment, but you can never discount the likes of Richie Taylor, Ray Stewart, Kane Lawson, Josh Bolton. There's a great number of drivers that are capable of taking this out. Trevor Elliott as well, current king of the coast. Here we go, off and racing it is. Ian Burson, the 3NZ machine, takes off into the race lead as they find themselves out. Turn 1 and 2, 3 wide down the back straight. Roger Neese coming to grips with Richie Taylor and Ray Stewart. And Richie Taylor up in the 5th spot. Trevor Elliott's holding 2nd from Kane Lawson. Then we go back to Ray Stewart. 811 6th spot. Roger Neese, 891 Josh Bolton from the 11 car of Jason Phillips, 492 of Campbell Manaway, 48 Gavin Hill. We go back to Jason Phillips, Paddy North up a couple of spots, Mark Carey in the 77 car at the back, but out in front and out to about a dozen car lengths. It is the 3NZ of Ian Burson, the 50 lap feature winner at Western Springs, is back out doing the business that he does best. Firing this car up, looking forward to New Zealand Championship in Miami in not too distant future. There's a good way of doing it, picking up the South Island title at his home track. He's had a damaged arm. Whole front of the car got ripped off up in Auckland a couple of weeks ago. But he's doing great guns. The in-house sponsored machine of Ian Burson. Car owner Terry West, you'll be happy with this. So will Rex. Pit crew, Trevor Elliott still holding on to 2nd spot. Here we go back to Kane Lawson. Ray Stewart under pressure from Richie Taylor. Go back to 811 of Roger Neese. On the outside of him, Mark Grocott. Josh Bolden trying to have a look at the inside as Mark Grocott goes around the outside. Tries to find the outside line past Roger Neese. Roger Neese drops one back. Here goes Campbell Manaway from Gavin Hill. Paddy North. Mark Carey. Go back to Jason Phillips. And of course Greg Johnson at the last, but out in front. And we're only on lap 7 of 20, and it looks like Ian Burson's lining up some of these back markers already. Doing a Mark Osborne from last week. It is Ian Burson, the 3NZ driver. The Nelsonian going great guns at the moment. Trevor Elliott just holding comfortably in the 2nd spot from Kane Lawson. Richie Taylor trying to get underneath Mark Grocott. Can't do it. As the 2NZ machine just holds out, he's looking underside of Ray Stewart. Ray Stewart going wide. Mark Grocott kind of going underneath the 2NZ machine, firing through. Some of these guys are spending a bit of time in the North Island. Here we go, Ian Burson, lap number 9, halfway through the race, and he's caught up to the back markers, coming around the outside of Greg Johnson, as Paddy North just drops out a little bit. Mark Carey and then the back markers trying to find that 10th and 11th spot as the 77 car spins out, goes to the infield. So we'll carry on racing now. We've gone caution. So that great gap that Ian Burson had has come to naught. as Trevor Elliott will come up behind him halfway through lap number 11. Ian Burson will probably drop back to lap 10. Trevor Elliott still in the second spot from Kane Lawson, Ray Stewart, Mark Grocott, Richie Taylor, Roger Nees, Josh Bolton, 492 of Campbell Manaway, the HPE car off Gavin Hill, 46 Paddy North, 35 Mark Carey. Then we go back to Jason Phillips, Stoneleigh, and the 77 car. Just wait for him. I'm not sure where he's going to fit in, whether he's going to go to the back of the pack. He did cause a caution, so he might go to the back. And I think the rest of the cars will just pass him. Just trying to slot him in. But he is one of the key cars in the South Island at the moment, the Elf Cup. Going great guns with that. Rightio, about to go racing again in Burson, lap number 10, going green again, and he takes off into the lead. So Mark Grocott's been put up to first spot, so they haven't changed him back. Do know that Kane Lawson is in second spot. Sorry, Trevor Elliott second, Kane Lawson in the third. Just waiting for the ELS to sort itself out. As we see Ray Stewart and Mark Grocott coming together. That's opened the door for Richie Taylor. Richie Taylor might sneak up a couple of spots here in the fourth spot. He's got past Mark Grocott. This is what we thought he might be able to do. Richie Taylor sets the car up for these last few laps. Trying to go underneath Ray Stewart in the Hypermac, holding that slightly outside line. Richie Taylor having a sniff down the inside as Ian Burson heads off into the Nelson Sunset. The in-house sponsored machine going great guns. Trevor Elliott scaffold in the 27C, holding safely on the second spot from Kane Lawson. The Dennis Bolt machine, GT Magan Turbo sponsored machine as they go through. Ray Stewart heading through. Heavy Tracks sponsored machine. Then we go back to Richie Taylor and Mark Grocott trying to get underneath Richie Taylor, trying to get that spot back. Richie going wide, shuts the gap. Grocott going to have to go on the brakes as Ian Burson, lap number 15, heads out by 20 odd car lengths at the moment. He'll start tracking down these back markers again. Not a lot of positions. Campbell Manaway trying to get underneath Roger Nees, and behind him is Gavin Hill and Mark Carey trying to get underneath Paddy North. The 891 of Josh Bolden up into the top 6-7 spots as Grocott, Taylor battle continues on. But at this stage, Richie Taylor, he's got 3 to go. As we do get a tangle, Josh Bolton and Richie Taylor come together. Oh, Roger Nees is ridden on top of Gavin Hill as they try to avoid the accident with the Taylor and the Bolton machine. And the whole front on Roger Nees' car's collapsed. The back end of the Gavin Hill car looking slightly second hand as well. And the front as he's hit the wall down on Bigsy's Hill. So just these two cars trying to avoid the incident in front of them, and they've gone wide, got into the marbles and caught each other up. Safety crew over there at the moment, no fires or incidents, just drivers a little bit shaken up and some very damaged cars, so get the tow truck out there. So we've got 3 to go, and then Burson leading. He had, as we said, a dozen odd car lengths from Trevor Elliott. We're going to go back to lap 16. So a bit of a, just looking at the back wheel, there's a bit of a bar caught out of Josh Bolton's machine. Just waiting to see where the Bolton goes back from Richie Taylor. The 2 cars that tangled, that caused the one behind the rest of the cars. As the tow trucks come out now to fix these machines and get them towed off. Super Saloon's circulating through the infield. And of course the Elf Cup still going to Christchurch. Later on, I think they've got a round in Blenheim on the next weekend. I think they're in Blenheim for the Elf Cup. 20th of February. Elf Cup next Saturday night in Blenheim. So if you're not doing anything next Saturday night, head yourself down to Blenheim and you'll see the Super Saloon action at the Elf Cup. And no doubt they'll have a few other sporting grades there as well. And of course, a week later, we have the South Island Super Stocks here. Brought to us by Fuchs. Radio, 4 laps to go, and it is Ian Burson, the babyface assassin, leading them out. In behind him it is Trevor Elliott, Kane Lawson, Ray Stewart. Not too much has changed. Richie Taylor's back up into 5th spot from Mark Grocott. Then we go back to Josh Bolton. About to go racing again. It is green flag, and Ian Burson takes off from Trevor Elliott. Then we go back to Kane Lawson. Ray Stewart as the rest of the guys file round turns 1 and 2. The track getting a little bit dusty with those extra laps. Getting those cars removed, but it hasn't affected any person. He just heads off into the Nelson sunset as Trevor Elliott tries to best to catch up with him. Kane Lawson sitting low, just balks a little bit. Ray Stewart going wide. Gave Richie Taylor a bit of a sniff, but closed the gap pretty quickly as they ride the pole line. Campbell Manaway's gone round, spun it up. So he'll go from 5th or 6th spot, and they're going to go caution again. Car is off the track, but they have gone caution, so the last 4 laps taking an eternity to run. Not too sure what we're going to do with 25 laps, but certainly taking up a wee bit of time with these Super Saloons. And no doubt Campbell Manaway will come on at the back of the pack. Of course, he had that right front damage, was it? Left front damage in the last race. So not a good night at the office for our man from Bluff, the king of seafood, can-do fishing, and a great sponsorship around the countryside. Of course, sponsoring the Pits TV as well. But what they call lovable rogue, and it is, there we go, that's what's wrong, inside flat tyre, so that's his race done and dusted. Not a good night for young Campbell McManaway. No doubt he'll bounce back. He's spent a bit of time up in the North Island, and we'll be looking forward to the New Zealand Championship at Miani. Of course, many years racing Super Stocks. Was up in Nelson when he retired from Super Stocks, got a bit of a hit. The New Zealand Super Stock Championship. Got him behind a saloon car, going great gun, still learning the trade, but still having a fair bit of fun. Rightio, we're on lap 17, 3 to go. Making it hard for Ian Burson. He's probably gained a track length of pace over these 3 restarts, having to do it all again as the points go up for our club champs for our final round of the production feature. We'll go to that very shortly. But it is the 3NZ that leads off lap number 17. And, oh, there we go. He's just had a bit of a problem with the car. Burke's out of turn 1 and 2, does Ian Burson. Not sure if something went wrong with it. No, looks like he sorted it out. And dives back round, just running out highlight on the berm. Might have just got into a bit of that bumpy stuff, running high as it pushes slowly up the track. Trevor Elliott running a slightly lower line on the black stuff. Then we go back to Kane Lawson, Ray Stewart, Richie Taylor, Josh Bolton. Mark Grocott got out in the marbles and has lost a couple of spots. Go back to Mark Carey, Jason Phillips. Go back to Greg Johnson. And at the back it is the 46 of Paddy North. So they do bunch up in the middle of the pack, but out in front with the white flag and the checkered flag. White flag, checkered flag going out. It was just 3 laps. Then Burson will pick up the South Island title once again. One he won in Dunedin just a few years ago. 27C of Trevor Elliott will pick up 2nd spot from Kane Lawson. Here we go back to Ray Stewart, Richie Taylor, our former champion, now in 5th. Mark Grocott picks up 6th from Josh Bolton, Mark Carey, Jason Phillips, Paddy North and Greg Johnson. Only 11 finished the final heat of our Super Saloons. And prize giving will be in the pits later on. So there you go, folks. Hometown hero, Liz in Burson, 3NZ. Had a lot of damage to the car and to himself up in Auckland a couple of weeks ago. He'll be absolutely wrapped with that. That sets himself up nicely for Miani in a few weeks' time. And a well-deserved race win. Terry, Rex, Chick and the team. Very big family affair, and Dad probably watching there as well. Young Jack and Amy. They'll be absolutely stoked with that. South Island Championship again, as the rest of the cars will make their way inside the pit. So there we go. We thank the Postboy Hotel for their sponsorship.
Okay, folks, here we go. 3rd spot overall for the South Island Championships for Super Saloons for 2016 is this man here. It is, of course, the 6th car of Kane Lawson. Now, Kane, first and foremost, we started interviews at the start of the night. You said you just wanted to see what will be, and I suppose this is not a bad result for just seeing how it goes.
Yeah, no, we're very happy. We've just had a few bad runs, and it's just we've run good at home, but everywhere else we've gone, we've run rubbish. So it's just good to get a good, consistent run, and I'm just happy with third. The whole team are, so it's great.
Now, of course, a very challenging track out there as well. A bit of an incident earlier through the race there, dried out the track quite a bit. Car handled okay?
The car handled good. We had a flat right rear tyre. We're lucky to finish the race. It was going down, which probably helped us to tighten the car a little bit. But certainly after that second caution, after the long one, the track changed a lot. Like there was a lot of adjusting the car on board to get back to where we were previous to the caution. It was a long way away. I was surprised how much it went off, but no, we're happy with what we got.
Car flat tyre, you say, was it caused by anything or just a flat tyre?
No, we thought it might have been the bleed-off valve. It's just a genuine flat tyre, just slowly leaking, which was thankful because there were a few cautions. So I actually thought it was a diff that was starting to go because each time the caution came, it got worse and worse, but it was a tyre, so that's all good.
Yeah, no, it's always good when you can put your car on the trailer without any major damage. Of course, good sponsors on the car too, are they okay?
Yeah, good sponsors. Riverlands Holiday Park, Mag and Turbo, GT Radial, they all look after us real good, so it's good.
Congratulations on third spot.
Thank you very much. Cheers.
Okay, folks, here we are with the 2016 South Island Super Saloon Championships and 27 Trevor Elliott. Not too many outings so far this season. Couple maybe, but certainly on the pace, and must be happy to bring home a second spot.
Yeah, it was a good night. Good night for me. Felt I was a bit rusty, but you know we got the car right, and it was good to come here and race against all these guys. But burst was too quick.
It's amazing, but I mean, I suppose what he was to you, like how far I got away, you were doing it to other people as well. So, I mean, literally your car was hooked up nicely, but just not quite as good as what Burst's one was.
Yeah, I think we were hooked up. The car was good, but I think what was happening with me was the rustiness and the driving. I found I was making a couple of mistakes. Yeah. You probably can't see it from the outside, but yeah, I made a couple of errors going into the turns, and a couple of times pointed the car wrongly coming out. And every time I did that, I could see Burst drive away another 10 metres, and it was like, I try and give it a bit more.
Okay, so obviously you're still happy with the result though. Good sponsor look after you too. Trevor, who are they?
Yeah, Elliott Scaffolding, still my top sponsor here. We've got Laffy's Tyres and Rangiora. He looks after me as well. We've still got the rooftop sponsor over there of Seeker Panel and Paint, and that's pretty much it really.
Okay, well congratulations, second spot, nothing to sniff at, but try and go for one better next year, eh?
Yeah, definitely, yeah. When I did win the South Island title, I had to give it to Ian when I lost it up here last time, and I was sort of hoping that this time he might have been able to give it, get it here, but never mind.
Must be your turn, you reckon?
Maybe next time, mate.
Congratulations anyway, Trev.
Yeah, thanks very much.
A winner of the South Island Championships. Now, of course, last year wasn't to be your year. You just sort of give it to Richie to sort of give it a good clean, I suppose, and a big scrub, so you could bring it back for you this year. Stoked to take it out at your home track, Burst?
Oh, fantastic, Jace. Yeah, fantastic for my crew, fantastic for my sponsors, and most of all, fantastic for our little Nelson club. Like, we don't get a lot of opportunities to run here, and to run here tonight, and how fast the pace was. It was it was a cool experience.
Absolutely, and of course the track not ideally 100%, but by geez, no one could catch you, Burst. You opened up a huge amount of lead before that break, and then of course busted away to do the same thing again. The only one that was sort of could have footed it whatever was Trevor Elliott, but even he said he's just watched you drifting off 10 metres at a time after every corner. What's the secret to your success on this Nelson track?
I just think, I had a consistent line. Every lap I was just trying to do the same because I knew I got good drive. I knew I hit the cush properly. I could follow the cush around like a railway track, and it seemed to benefit us. And yeah, off the first start, I had a good buffer. I was looking over my shoulder, and I was going out of turn 4. They were coming out of turn 2, so I thought, sweet, I got a good buffer. And then we got the caution, and then I started getting a headache and panicking and worried. But it all paid off. I just sort of tried to keep it cool and carried on.
Now, 5-time South Island champ. What does it mean to you to get it back again?
Grouse. This is 6th time.
6-time South Island champ. What does it mean to you get 6th time?
Oh, even better. No, it's fantastic. We won it in our old car once, and we won it in this car 4 times back to back. And then Richie borrowed the trophy for a season, and we finally got it back. So I'm stoked for these guys, because at the end of the day, all our races, all our preparation is won in the shed. The entertainment's out here, but this is only 10% of the 90% of effort. So
that's so true too, and we've seen a lot of that recently, especially since you're running the North Island, where the car was literally just about total, but you still managed to get your crew all together. They fronted up, they got you back on the track, and reasonably successful Southland champs and also Elf Cup for you. So obviously your crew must be gold to you, are they?
Oh, fantastic! It's just like these guys are any racer's dream. If I didn't want to work on the car, I wouldn't have to. They would deliver it to the track in a pink bow sort of thing. They're that dedicated. And yeah, I'm just so stoked for them because these sorts of results, you know, like I can't give them any more than what we've done tonight, apart from the New Zealand title. And I don't really want to talk about that, but yeah, that's our next mission. Yeah, we'd love to win that, and then hey, you know, we've done everything we've ever wanted to do.
Yeah. And that's the one thing that has eluded you at this stage, is that New Zealand title. Do you think possibly a bit of confidence going into that now with this result?
Oh, definitely not, Jace. You know, we've got to take each day as it comes, each race is, you know, as raced. You know, it's only good as a flat tyre, your luck and whatnot. And yeah, I think we've had our fair share of bad luck this year with what happened up north and that. But then some people have that meeting in, meeting out. So yeah, we can't complain too much. You know, we've had 7 years of racing, and that one incident would have been the biggest and the most time-consuming to fix. But hey, we're back out here turning laps and fast laps, so they obviously fixed it right. And yeah, I'm getting right.
Absolutely. Hey, well, nothing can take it away from your burst. You are the South Island champ. Congratulations on that. And of course, you wouldn't be able to do it without your sponsors as well. Who are they?
We've got In-House Developments, it's a local building company. Debbie the Webster, Mike Perra Real Estate, AT Electrical, Phil at Design Art Signs, he's looking after the sticker work, Brooks Auto Painters, Hydrolink, Edward Gibbon, and we've got Tate's New Zealand, they look after our engine, so yeah, that's a big thank you to them. You know, they're grouse support, because if we didn't have a reliable engine, you wouldn't be finishing races. So yeah, big heads up to all our supporters and all our sponsors. Another one's Tony's Engineering, they look after us as well. So yeah, big thank you to them, because yeah, if we haven't got them, we're not doing the miles and the laps that we do. So yeah, we're fortunate.
Now, go and celebrate with your family and your crew. Congratulations, Burst.
Thanks, Jace. Yeah, definitely. I might even have a fizzy tonight.